Checking in on this past weekend's box office, and oh my goodness, Zootopia 2, man. Like, you kind of thought that this one, it had the potential of being big, but nobody thought the business was going to be this big, okay? $100 million domestic opening weekend, which is fantastic stuff in and of itself, but that doesn't even tell the entire story. In fact, that is but merely the tip of the iceberg, because check out that international haul, $401 million for an opening weekend of $560 million. That is absolutely insane. And where is it getting a lion's share of that money? Ladies and gentlemen, $271 million coming straight out of China. This has got to be Disney's biggest Chinese box office haul, and it is, in fact, about 6 years to be precise, as Zootopia 2 has become the first Hollywood movie ever to pass $100 million in a single day in China. Avengers Endgame was a previous record holder, so yeah, it is now the best performing Hollywood film in China. I did not see that one coming. And so yeah, Zootopia 2 rockets past $500 million, thanks, yes, to an explosive Chinese box office opening. And even still, even if it didn't have that $250 million, I'm vastly underselling that, out of China, that is still one of the best opening weekends of the entire year. Disney has finally landed a certifiable global animated hit in 2025, and it comes from a franchise many assumed, yes, had been dormant too long to matter. Well, this is kind of the third year in a row for Disney and some of their wider brands as well, okay? Because at the tail end of 2023, in order to get them out of a total box office failure year, stop me if you've heard this one before, it took a movie that not a lot of people had a lot of hope in with Moana 2, then that ended up becoming their biggest hit of the year, bleeding over into 2024, obviously. And then, yes, last year, you had Inside Out 2, which I think people probably were like, yeah, no, it'll probably make some money, but go on to be the biggest film of the year. I don't think too many people had that tapped. And then now all of a sudden Zootopia 2, like, you kind of thought that, yeah, you know, it's got a certain fan base that's out there. There's a potential. There's not a lot of competition. A good family movie. Okay, a Disney film still has a lot of cachet with certain people, but a $500 million opening? Yeah, I don't think so, man. But Zootopia 2 has erupted across the international marketplace with an opening holiday 5-day weekend box office surging past the $500 million mark, thanks primarily to China's outstanding turnout. So the sequel launched with an enormous $272 million 5-day opening in China alone, instantly ranking the second U.S. film debut ever recorded in the country, trailing only Endgame. So yeah, it beats it in the 1 day, but over a 5-day, it just comes up a little bit short, which still, Jesus, man. The success didn't stop there. Local box office tracker Mayowan now projects that Zootopia 2 could ultimately earn $500 million in China alone by the end of its run. Yo, that number would make it would make the film one of the most successful imported releases in the history of the Chinese marketplace, and cements the country as the driving force behind the sequel's historic worldwide start. Like, is there precedent for this? Like, if we take a look at the box office for the original Zootopia all the way back in 2016, holy crap, like, yeah, it made $1 billion at the box office. That's a pretty good international split that's right there, but was China going absolutely mental on it? Okay, I guess so. But that's a $22 million opening weekend. A tenth the size of the opening weekend. So yeah, obviously it's the biggest market, but what the fuck, man? China's love for Zootopia pays out big for Disney. Disney didn't stumble into this success by accident. The company invested heavily in strengthening the franchise's footprint overseas, including the opening of the world's first Zootopia-themed land at Shanghai Disney Resorts in late 2023. Okay, it's starting to make a little bit more sense, seeing the potential in 2016 and then cultivating it. Wow, Disney actually doing some smart business that totally makes sense. They're appealing to a fan base that was already existing and giving them what they want. Weird. It's weird how they can't translate that and make that work anywhere else. The land quickly became a star attraction and set the stage for an explosive anticipation ahead of the sequel. The anticipation translated directly to turnout. China's social scoring platforms have embraced the movie with near unanimous enthusiasm. 9.7 on Mayowan and 8.6 on Douban. Two scores are rarely handed to foreign animated projects. Wonder what that Niza or Zine, whatever the hell it is, the highest grossing film of the year so far at over $2 billion, or what its numbers look like. But yeah, well, this isn't going to effectively, especially if you broaden everything out to the wider scope of the movies that Disney as a distribution company have released this year, it's going to go a long way, okay? And especially if it continues on this trajectory, because it's going to be a couple of weeks before Avatar comes out. And well, at time of recording, there's some people who have gone and got really early screenings, and I'll be interested to see how well this ends up playing, because we got something to talk about in regards to James Cameron. We're going to do that, I think, tomorrow. Pretty sure tomorrow on that one. Well, it's a little bit trepidatious, but also, there's a little bit of precedent on that, but I digress. Disney's had it rough at the box office. Its Marvel films have absolutely died a swift death. Star Wars, I mean, like, you had one incredible TV show, and you had the second half of another to kick off the beginning of the year. Does anybody remember that Skeleton Crew happened? Yeah, exactly. Other than that, they've been incredibly dormant, except for a bunch of drama due to the Force being female. It's just been foul ball after foul ball after foul ball. Most recently being Tron Ares. And then, of course, another film that we need to focus in on here for a second with Predator Badlands. You remember how they were touting, oh my god, what was it, like a month ago? Yeah, the beginning of last month, okay, November 7th. Oh my god, look at this opening weekend. Oh my god, look at that domestic box office. And here we are a month later going, oh my god, look at that box office, full stop. It's not going to hit 200 million. Hell, it's going to struggle to hit 180 million, 190 million, because it is dying a death. But hey guys, a great news after all. At $174 million, some shill sites are running with, it's become the most successful Predator film of all time. But when you actually properly run the numbers, AVP from 2004, the film that it so triumphantly beat with its opening weekend haul, clearing it by $4 million, is the highest grossing Predator movie with $177.4 million box office. In today's dollars, that's $305 million. So Predator Badlands is expected to finish around $200 million for a $60 million loss. Yeah, we don't know the marketing budget for sure, but the production budget, at least what they'll fest to, that we'll eventually figure out a couple of years from now with the UK tax receipts, cost a lot further north of the reported $105 million budget, which was always going to be an albatross around this production's neck. And yeah, it's going to fail. It's going to flop, but hey, all of that great word of mouth that lasted for what, a week to 10 days? Nobody's talking about this film. Everybody's hopping on the Zootopia train, and then after that, there will be the mass hysteria of Avatar 3 for a couple of weeks. And then by that time, yeah, everybody will be able to have their post-nut clarity for Predator Badlands going, oh geez, that was actually pretty bad, and Elle Fanning's character was really annoying, and what the fuck was with a little baby Grogu in a Predator movie? That doesn't make any sense. The cycle will continue once again, unabated. And all of those people that had to take those slings and arrows going, yeah, that's not exactly an impressive opening weekend and the movie's kind of shit. Yeah, they're vindicated once again. Big shock, the big story of 2025. Shills coming out and defending bad movies, and then ultimately being proven wrong a couple of weeks later. Surprise, surprise. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.